who cared about love, and I'm not the guy who cared about fortunes and such. Never cared much, but look at me now. Take a look at me now.
Let me kick things off here a little bit, and if others join, that's great. So thank you all for being here for the chapter VP of Marketing session. That's going to be 2.5 hours of, I think, just rife with all kinds of incredible content. I am very happy to have Steve Skolnick here presenting the material. I've actually not been able to sit in on Steve's sessions until now, so I'm real happy about that. This is great because we add this to the inventory and the core knowledge that we have. So if you have any friends or there's anyone in your chapter that you think would like to do this, or your successor or whatnot, well, guess what? After we're done with the session, because it's being recorded, they'll be able to go and get it right from our YouTube channel. So Steve, I'll kick it over to you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Certainly. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter if I use essentially the same slides. The class is never the same. So
that's my strategy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have people that I teach when I teach marketing and membership, and they're essentially the same course. There's a lot of crossover elements when I teach membership, because there's, marketing and membership are a lot of the same in barbershop. People come to both classes and come year after year. So real quick about me, I am the Northern Division Vice President. I am the past district board member for marketing, and a past board member. I outserved my term on both of those. 15-year member of barbershop, have sung with Hamilton Square, Hell's Kitchen, and Somerset Hills, and currently the newly formed umbrella group, like Elizabeth was talking about, with Hunterdon County. So we have a couple of different chori. So I'm singing with the mixed chorus for Hunterdon County called Vocal Synergy. I'm a founding board member of Voices of Gotham, and in my chapters, I've served VP of Marketing, Membership, Webmaster, Harmony College East Champion, and District Delegate. I am a chairman, was former multi-year chairman of the Festival of Harmony, VP of Marketing of the Atlantic Harmony Brigade, sung in a couple of quartets, faculty at a bunch of stuff. In my day job, I am a partner in Skolnick Associates, which is wholesale sales and marketing, and in HCMD Holdings, which is an online media company that we develop and monetize websites and other stuff. And I've been doing search engine optimization since 1999. Yes, that existed back then. It wasn't called that back then, but it existed back then. So before you even start, before we do anything, we need to make a plan. If we don't make a plan, we know who we are or who we want to be, who our customers are, who our potential members are, and who our potential audience is, any plan that we make won't make sense, right? So when you're planning who you are or who you want to be, and I keep saying that because they are not necessarily the same thing, right? There's some chapters that may be something here and say, hey, we want to aspire to be something here, which a lot of older chapters are doing these days. That's fine. You just need to know how we're going to get there. So are we going to be a show chorus? Are we going to be a competition chorus? Are we going to be some mix of those? Maybe you want to be a daytime chorus if you have a lot of older guys. One thing that a lot of people talk about is the average age, right? So if you're a chorus of 70-year-olds, do you want to really be targeting 20-year-olds? Probably not. It's okay to do that, but you should primarily be targeting 10 years below to 20 years below your average, the average age of your chorus. if you want to have them stick around. You also need to rate your singing quality, in my humble opinion, your performance level and your activity level, right? So where are we at? Are we singing at a 70? And that's cool. 70 is decent. Are we singing at a 40? We're singing at a 40. We probably want to move up, focus on improving our singing before we do aggressive marketing, right? The performance level and activity level, not so much, but I think we need to be at a minimum level before we really go and do an outreach. That makes sense to everybody? This mute thing sucks. You could all, I know Rob said go on mute. Can you I'll take yourself off mute.
That makes sense, Steve.
I'd much rather have input than.
If you're a 40 chorus,
Steve,
you're
I'm
gonna have
gonna
trouble
leave
attracting-
myself on mute because I got the football game on in the background. I don't want to
Okay.
rattle up your presentation.
But I do want your input, Al.
All right, I'll
your
I'll
input.
jump in at times.
Okay, cool. But the me just talking is going to be very boring.
I'm starting to say, if you're a 40 chorus, you're going to probably have trouble attracting people of the quality of a 70 or 80 chorus.
Right. So, there's different programs, right? So as Ready, Set, Sing is probably not something that Voices of Gotham or Parkside want to run, right? Because that's sending the message of we're looking for the average singer and we're going to train them, versus we're looking for the experienced singer that's going to enhance our organization.
And good
Right.
luck with our audition.
Right, and by the same token, I don't know if you saw on the cover, there was a Singers Wanted yard sign as a program that I did when I was at Morris County. It was very successful, but that also sent the wrong message, right? That just sent, it was during the time of all those shows on TV that making everybody a star, and that was too broad of things, right? So that while it was successful at attracting people, it wasn't successful at getting people to stay at the chorus, right? So anyway, so determining who you are, really important. The next two slides, I do not take credit for, and I do not take blame for. So they have been at times very controversial. So just know that between them, no chorus is one or the other. Most are on a continuum. So the two slides are the affiliation chapter and the achievement chapter. So these are really, in my opinion, the extremes of the chapters that are out there. Most are, like I said, on a continuum, somewhere in between. But the affiliation chapter, generally older members with the average age increasing, frequent socializing during rehearsal, low rise or discipline, singing low or no audition standards, low or no contest scores, difficulty attracting younger members and directors, high churn rate. Young members aren't going to stay just because their needs aren't being met. And an affiliation chapter, if you are, I had somebody in my class that said, yes, that's exactly our chapter. Okay, that's okay. You just need to market differently, right? If you want to be an affiliation chapter, maybe a daytime chapter is something for you guys. But just know, Chris Wimple wrote these two slides in a marketing class that I took from him 15 years ago, and I think it's still appropriate today. But Chris had them as absolutes, right? Either you're one or the other. And if you're an affiliation chapter, you're going to just know you're going to crash and burn over time and disappear. And from the ashes, achievement chapters will be born, is what he said. But I think there's room in between. Everybody got what an affiliation chapter is?
Yep.
Achievement chapter is generally younger members with average age static, socializing limited to outside the rehearsal time with very high riser discipline, strong focus on singing quality where the goals are determined and new goals are set up when those goals are achieved, moderate to high contest scores, frequent coaching to improve contest performance, little difficulty attracting younger members or high quality directors, and lower churn rate. The high standards are ensured the needs are being met. Now, I don't necessarily think that the only way the needs are being met is with high contest scores. I think a lot of chapters, some chapters focus too much to the detriment of their chapter on contest scores, and some chapters focus too little, right? So I personally want to be on a chapter that has high contest scores. Determine that over time. So basically, know who you are, right? Be honest with yourself. Most chapters are affiliation, but portray them as achievement, or somewhere in between. So what are your contest and performance goals? How hard are you willing to work to get them? Are you doing it or just talking about it? Are you meeting the needs of your members, or the prospective members you're recruiting? An interesting tidbit is when we started Voices of Gotham, we had determined we were an a cappella chorus. We weren't a barbershop chorus. We were an a cappella chorus that sang two barbershop songs a year for contests. That is what the board determined we were. And we got to about 15, 16 members and we're very, very stagnant. We would lose members, we'd gain members, we'd lose members, we'd gain members. And then I was VP of marketing at the time, but Brian Linville is a branding expert. And he came to me and said, well, I've just graduated Princeton with a degree in branding or whatever he had. And you mind if we do a rebranding of the chorus? And he did, or we did, some deep interviewing of the chorus. So very deep, like almost 100-question interview of each member of the chorus. And it was really interesting what came back is everybody wanted to sing with a barbershop chorus. That they didn't want to be an a cappella chorus. There were plenty of a cappella choruses to sing with. And they chose to sing with Voices of Gotham because they were a barbershop chorus. So it wasn't until our marketing aligned with our member expectations and desires until we started growing. And within 2 years, we grew to 60 members. Once we are realigned to say, we're a barbershop chorus. So, it's those types of things. You just need to figure out what your chorus wants and what your members want and align to those needs, and success will happen.
And Steve, isn't that where your whole live in the seventh, kind of logoing and branding and that whole came from?
Yeah. So it was my marketing team. So I was the VP of marketing. Brian was on as branding. Ariel Estrada was on graphics. But even that brand rebranding created the logo, the wristbands, the T-shirt, a new logo, the wristbands, Live in the Seventh, down to the uniforms they are currently wearing. Like literally, it defined everything. And
of course, that then spilled over into all of your social media and your website, right, and all that.
Absolutely,
it's used everywhere, right? So
sorry
if I don't mean to be jumping ahead. You're probably covering all of that kind of stuff, but
no, it's cool.
I remember talking with you about it. You're very animated about it because it was very exciting when you saw that inflection point and you saw the change.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, I mean, it was crazy, because it's like, here we think we were doing the right thing, right? Who wants to be a barbershop chorus anymore? Everybody wants to be an a cappella chorus, right? Everybody was doing that, 15 years or 12, 10 years ago, right? So, but it's if they wanted to sing with an a cappella chorus, they would have sung with an a cappella chorus. They wanted to sing with a barbershop chorus. So
Being located
basically,
in New York City, I was around when you guys started out, and I was always amazed by people say, "Oh yeah, we'll get plenty of members. We got 7 million people in the big city," and
right.
I was astounded by that, and it was very much true.
Yeah. I mean, we could not get past 16, 17 members, and we were singing exceptionally well for a brand new chorus. So when you're starting your plan, so how do you start, right? I think you would say, okay, describe the people who would join your chorus. What do they look like? You can almost go to the ultimate degree of this is developing a persona, right? Or multiple personas that say, this member's name is Tim. He's 45 years old. He his kids are grown and out of the house. Those types of things. You really can go to that extreme and describe that person in depth of who do you think would want to join the chorus, and what do they think about what you offer, right? So if you look at the people that are joining your chorus, that who your ideal member is, now look back at what your marketing is currently saying to them and see what do they think of what you're offering now, from a singing level, from a performance level, from a competition level. You're doing too much competition, too little competition. Then where are they? Where are you going to go fishing, right? Your pool. I like to use that the fishing analogy. Your pool of where you're going to go fishing, or the pond that you're going to go fishing in is going to be much different if you're a daytime chorus than if you're Parkside, right? I actually think the pool is much larger for the average chorus than either of those extremes, right? So Rittenhouse or Morris County has a much bigger pool to market to that might come join your chorus than any of those extremes. And then what tools can we use to reach those people? So determining who they are, what you offer, where they are, and how you can reach them is going to form the basis of your marketing plan. Really important to set realistic and attainable goals as well. So I'm a fan of setting lower goals initially, achieving them, and then bumping up the goals, because certainly in older chapters, you're going to get people that are reluctant to the plan, right? Especially if you set a serious plan. You're going to have people that are going to be, reluctant to the plan, so you really need to get the buy-in from your board, right? So after you create the plan, go to your board and make sure everybody on the board is on board, so to say. And then don't be afraid to try stuff that has failed in the past, because you're always going to have somebody like OLA that'll say, oh, we did that in 1973 and that was a failure. Okay, well, you want to know what? It might not be a failure today. At different times, different people. And don't just talk about your goals, write them down with clear deliverable dates, right? Because if you don't write down your goals, they're not actually goals. You guys on board? Have any questions? Have any comments? Oh, this is going to be a hard slug. So websites. So it's not just websites, it's all of your social media. Nobody, even if you go, even if you have a person that is brought in by somebody else, right? And they say, hey, Frank, I know you love to sing. Why don't you come and sing with us? I'll pick you up Tuesday. Even if you have somebody that with that much of a connection, they're still going to check you out. They're going to go to your website. They're going to go to your social media and see what you're about before they say yes, most likely. Right? Or even after they say yes and before they show up, they're going to check those things out. And your pictures, especially your homepage, right, needs to look like you're having fun. Needs to reflect who you are. This happens to be ambassadors, and I think they do a good job of that here. Compelling homepage pictures, basically what I'm talking about. Some newer ones, some older ones, but what I'm looking at here is everybody's having fun. They're engaged, and it doesn't matter whether, you know, the Morris, there's a very old version of the Morris Music Men website, but what I like about it is the picture where you have diverse, you know, diverse ages of people, and everybody's having fun. Everybody's having fun. It looks like they're enjoying themselves. The voice of Gotham there, clearly everybody's having fun. And Parkside is just super cool, right? Something that you want to be part of. So I think it's really important that those things look great and be compelling and be someplace that okay, if somebody comes to visit, yeah, I want to be a part of that. Any questions? You certainly don't want that old static, you know, who was the guy that used to come and take the pictures at contests, and everybody would stand there, turn your back if you turn your back, turn your back if you don't want a copy of the picture. Sure. You know, and then they take that static picture of everybody standing there, you know, at attention on their website. You know, that's not a compelling picture.
Yeah, that was a great picture to have and to hang on your wall at home.
yeah, right? not for your website. A lot of chapters use that for their website.
Yeah.
You know, maybe because it was the only picture they had.
Yeah.
You know, the web guy, oh, build a website. Well, I have nothing. You know.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Quick question, and I put it in the chat.
Oh, sorry, I can't see the chat.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one observation is websites seem to be less and less important these days. They're more static. They don't get updated very often, at least compared to like having a constant presence on Facebook or Instagram. What's your reaction to that? You think that's fair, or is that?
I don't think that's fair. I mean, I think certainly for an initial interaction, you know, for doing your fishing, the website's going to be a lot less important than it was in the past, right? But so you're going to do most of your fishing on social media, or all of your fishing on social media, right? Where you're just you're casting a net and trying to, you know, put out great content so somebody's attracted to it, right? But they're going to show up to your website before they show up to your chapter. And if your website is not consistent with the message that they got in the social media, both from a professionalism and the message being given, you're going to lose them. They're not going to show up.
I have something to add here. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, I have something to add here actually. So for Sirens, what we do, we ask everybody when they fill out our interest form, like how they found us. And when it comes to like cold discoverability. We actually have way more people finding us through literally just searching like NYC acapella and finding our website than discovering our social media. So our social
Really?
media is great for sort of like the secondhand, like friends of friends, how like friends of friends keep up with us, or like our family members, and sort of
Sure.
expanding out from the circle of the chorus. But when it comes from people who like have never heard of barbershop discovering us, our website is consistently like the top way that people find out about us.
Yeah, and I the class that I made up on the fly a couple of years ago, that I turned into a class called Websites Under Glass. We go through it. It's really membership under glass. We go through the process with people of how they discovered barbershop, and it was always through search, or almost always through search. But I think even if they're saying they did search, they may have had an interaction through either YouTube, or you saw some YouTube videos, or saw something in their feed about singing that prompted them to do that search. So I'm not sure that even if they're self-identifying, saying that the search was the method, that's 100% accurate.
Sure, I guess I just meant like definitely don't discount the website in terms of how important it is.
Yeah, and for sure, 99% of people, before they show up to your rehearsal hall, is going to your website, if nothing more than to find out where you rehearse, when you rehearse, and in the case of Voices of Gotham or Sirens, they have an input form, which I love. I'm probably going to get ahead of myself, but those forms that let them say, self-identify and saying, hey, I'm planning on coming and joining, right? When you think about somebody that's doing, like Elizabeth said, that just, I'm interested in singing and I live in New York City. If they're truly starting on a search, how hard is it for that individual to go from doing the search to physically walking through the door of your rehearsal hall? Think about how hard that is to do. You don't know anybody, and everybody inside knows everybody, right? From a social point of view, that's a ridiculously hard thing to do. To cold walk into a chapter and say, hey, I'm interested, where filling out that form online is easier, right? Even if you filled it out, you still don't have to necessarily show up. But now you get something back from the VP of membership or the VP of marketing that says, hey, I'm Elizabeth. We're looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday night at 7 at this address. And hey, come find me. Now they're walking in and they're saying, hey, who's Elizabeth? Right? Makes it much easier for that person that's just searching to walk in the door. I probably have that slide farther on, but. So analytics are really important as well, because for your website. So, and that's something that social is harder to do, but where are you getting your traffic from? Right? So this is website traffic, obviously, but it's going to break down and it's going to tell you where your stuff is coming from. So, and organic search really does show up the most in most places. So for website traffic, there's two types of traffic. There's paid and organic. Are you guys familiar with the differences between these, or do I need to?
Yes, but tell us.
I'm not, so thank you.
Okay, cool. So if you look here in that tan box, Do you see the tan box?
Yes,
Those are paid ads. Right?
got it.
And,
Got it.
and on the right-hand side, those are paid ads. Everything below that tan box is organic.
By the way,
So-
the color tan is not coming through.
Okay, so the first
Right
three
column.
the first three listings. I don't know if you, so that's not coming through, that shaded background on the page.
No background, it's all in white.
It's all in white. Okay.
It's
So those-
light, but it does, I can see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see it too.
Yeah, just barely.
The first three and up, there's a box up top on the left, the first three are ads. So you can pay to be in that position. And there's actually grants that will let you do that for free. And I'm surprised choruses aren't using that. I don't know if we had applied for a Google grant and gotten $10,000 a month, but nobody used it, so it probably went away. But I know other chapters have applied based on taking my class and gotten grants from Google that you basically get paid ads for free. Because they're giving
Steve, do
a
you know the
grant to
name of that
nonprofit.
grant program?
It's Google Grants for Nonprofits.
Oh, great. Okay.
You get, and it's the grant, and I'm pretty sure Voices of Gotham has done that. I do know, I told Doug about it, and I thought Doug said Doug Brown, and I'm pretty sure that he said they were doing that. But it's, you know, they at the time, I haven't done it in a while, but they didn't just grant ads, but they granted their whole business system, right? So if you're using, you know, Google Drive or all of that stuff, you get their whole suite or at the time, got the whole suite of applications for free. So the paid ads, obviously, the more you pay, the higher relative to others, the higher you're going to be in that listing, right? The organic, you can do things on your website called search engine optimization to affect your placement there. Obviously, when you build it, you want to build for all the screens. This class is going to go quicker than
Steve, speaking of
you guys don't start talking. This class is going to go way too quick.
speaking of building for all screens, could you press the plus button so I can see that screen without having to give up any other territory on my screen? Just to zoom plus a little bit. Can you hit it once?
It's not working.
Oh, okay.
I think you have control to go with, let's see, you can go with full screen. You can select full screen. Up in the upper right corner, there's a little grid view thing. You can go with standard, which
Oh,
actually makes
I've
it
done
nice,
that, but I'm
nice and big.
lamenting the black margins on the sides and wishing it could be bigger.
Okay.
You know, the slides
Okay.
are probably built as 5x4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically you're building for all screens. So when you're building your website, you need to make sure that you're building it. And a lot of the templates will do this for you. Which most people are using templates to make sure that you're building for desktop, for tablet, and for phone. So there's paid and organic. So your organic is your search engine optimization, and SEO is broken down into two elements. Your on page, so things that you can do on your website that'll make a difference to your placement, and off page. So mostly either articles that you've written or links from other websites where people, when you have a link on somebody else's website to your website, they're voting and saying to Google or to the search engine, this is what I think the website's about, right? So as long as a link that you have on somebody else's website says that you're a barbershop chorus, that's probably a good thing. Getting a link from your arts organization, your local arts organization to your website is pretty powerful, because they're the ones that are, a similar genre. So that's really important. So on-page search engine optimization, and again, even if you're in a template, most templates, if you dive deep into this, they give you control of these things. And I've had people who say that these things don't work, but I'm telling you, I have sites that I've built for years with stuff that people say don't work anymore, and they're still killing it. So I continue to use these things. The meta tags, your title, description, and your keywords, a really good example of, and I'm not sure whether I have a slide for that, but when you Google something, Google will tell you how many hits or how many competing web pages are for that search term. And if you search the word home, that's the highest level. That's the most number of pages on the internet that have that search term. That's because most people take their homepage and label it home in their title, right? So if you're a barbershop chorus and your homepage is titled home, you're confusing that search engine. They think your website is about homes. Steve, you're laughing, but I've seen so many chapters do this.
Yeah, you're saying you get lost in the crowd, obviously.
Well, not just get lost in the crowd, but the search engine now doesn't think you're a barbershop chorus. They think you're about homes. So in addition to your name, especially if it's not in your domain name, right? The name of your course, say that you're a barbershop chorus, say that you're an a cappella chorus, say that you do singing, barbershop singing. Choir is an interesting one. I'm a world-renowned expert to some degree, based on performance in search engine optimization, and have been for years, right? So I built the first Gotham website, and we were killing it in all these terms: barbershop chorus, a cappella chorus, singing, 1, 2, or 3 on all of these things, right? And Larry, who was the director at the time and is the director now, he says to me, "I thought you were good at this." I'm like, okay. He goes, "We're nowhere to be found for choir." I'm like, well, I didn't even think about that term, right? That just didn't even hit me as something that we should be optimizing for. And clearly we should be, and shortly after that we were.
Steve, what was the choice between choir versus chorus?
Well, I mean, some people search choir and some people search chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And in
So
my
the lesson
mind,
is use both.
I've just always thought chorus. So even if we don't call ourselves a choir, to some degree we are, right? Or to some people we are. So your title, your keywords, and your headlines, and also the last item on your page must match or have basically saying the same thing, right? So you're in your meta tags, you'll have your title and your keywords. But in the body of your page, you're going to have your headline, and what you talk about on that page. That should all basically be saying the same thing. It should be giving a unified message to the search engine, right? Now, where you put this stuff may not be visible or really scream to the viewer, right? And I think I do have something. So while I'm a real fan of search engine optimization, you can't do SEO to your website at the expense of your reader, right? So some people, especially newbies who jump into SEO and watch videos and learn everything they can about SEO, start applying everything you can. And to me, you want to look at your competition and say, how much SEO do I need to apply to beat my competition? Not how much SEO do I need to, not take every tool out of the toolbox and hit it, right? I'm giving you some tools that are a screwdriver and maybe a wrench, and in my personal toolbox for SEO, I have RPGs, I have drones, I have armed drones, I have nuclear weapons, I have thermonuclear weapons. You know what I'm saying? And I, depending on what we're doing, I have taken those tools out, right? But it's very rare. You really, most certainly for a barbershop chorus, you don't need to take out more than a wrench and a screwdriver, maybe just even a screwdriver.
So, Steve, what are those other tools that you're talking about? What's examples of those? I mean, how does that relate to reality? What do you mean by that? Like,
okay, so I'll give you an example of where we use thermonuclear weapons. So, my son, when he's 25 now, when he was 9, I think, single kid, his mother is a super aggressive type A. So he needed to come up with, hopefully she's not listening. He needed to come up with a summer project to keep him busy. So she decided he needed to do a summer project to keep himself busy for the summer. So he decided, what business are you going to start? So he went through and did the whole process and came up with the gourmet dog treats. So now we're making gourmet dog treats in our kitchen, and Donna, my wife, is teaching Ryan, my son, SEO at 9, right? So Donna got to a point where I'm really good, but she's much better than I am at this stuff, right? Really from the work that she did here. And so we quickly got to dominate gourmet dog treats, right? Because who was selling gourmet dog treats in the year 2000, right? But she also wanted to do dog treats. Well, you have Purina selling dog treats. You have big companies selling dog treats.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're up against those types of big companies, you're going to have to take out bigger tools, right? You have millions of people competing. You have companies with big, massive budgets that are competing. And she rose that site to #1 for dog treats.
All right.
So then says, well, okay, well, I noticed she was starting to optimize for dogs. And I'm like, well, why are we doing dogs? That's not really targeted. Well, because it was harder. So she wanted to prove that we could be on the first page for dogs. And we ended up being on the first page for dogs. So there's stuff that you call, there's white hat SEO, black hat SEO, and then there's stuff that's sort of in the gray range. The thermonuclear weapons are in the gray to black range, but done in a way that they've never been caught. So,
okay.
Never had a site banned.
Where do I find those? How do I know I'm using one?
Well, maybe RPGs, you might be, if you spent a long time learning SEO, you will you probably will have stumbled across some RPGs and some drones or some armed drones if you spend a long time learning it. The thermonuclear weapons were those were put out in theory by somebody a long time ago, and they got caught and banned, and I modified that to not get caught and banned.
Okay.
Can you give an example of something that would be over the edge, would get banned?
Oh, so over the edge to get banned is that a lot of people were doing is you have a white background on your website and you have white text.
Oh,
So if you're putting stuff on your website that
people
really can't
see.
be seen,
Yeah.
right? So the trick to that is you just pick a very light color that is almost white, but not actually white. Right, but I mean, if you put white, you know, if you have a black background and you put black text, that's bannable.
I see.
You know, or minuscule text. You know,
Okay.
2 point, 3 point. You know, where your average is 12.
So what you're saying then, if I understand this, then is that so a search engine is going to scan your page and rank it somehow. It's going to
Yes.
determine a score, or you know, suitability for that particular search term or whatever. And the best way for you to be findable by that term is you have to have that word. So you sort of predict what people are going to search for, and you somehow incorporate that kind of a word into your text somewhere.
Right.
And so it sounds like what you're describing is that there are ways to be sure that the terms that you want to be found by are somehow on that page, but not necessarily cluttering it, because you don't want a page that's like about 1 million lines long, right?
Well, I mean, if your content is good and worth scrolling,
Yeah.
you can have a long page. So
Right.
I don't mind long pages, but your content needs to really be good. It needs to be scroll worthy,
Yeah.
right? It needs to be worth the scroll.
Yeah.
But I also don't mind, especially in a barbershop chorus, home pages basically having navigation and a hero picture or a hero video.
Right.
You know, there's really not a lot that needs to be said,
Now, when you
especially
use
if you're
pictures, though-
overlaying you know, if you're doing a scrolling hero and you're telling your message in that hero through both words and pictures in the hero image. Right.
And by a hero image, that's someone that's representative of your brand or your styles. Like, you know, we look like this. You know, that's kind of like our. Is
Right.
that what you
We'll
mean?
scroll back.
Yeah.
Scroll back. That's a hero. The Voices of Gotham picture is a hero image. That Parkside image is a hero image.
Okay, I see. I see what you mean.
The Ambassadors is basically a full page hero image that just has
Okay.
their navigation on the bottom and their link, you know, their social links on the right.
Now, here's the thing, right? Though, so if there's an image, there's no text terms to find. It's just an image.
Right.
Does that get ranked as well?
No,
Because
so
it can't be, right?
You can name your images. So I would name my images,
Ah,
but I would also, whenever, so I don't know whether.
interesting.
I don't know. So, okay. So like Voices of Gotham, the about book calendar contact, when we did it, now there's ways that you can do this as text and make it look that way. But when we did it, those were images.
Okay.
Okay. That's not going to get ranked,
Gotcha.
right? That image, especially if you're not putting a name to that image that says that same thing. So to me, there's most of the page is
Yeah.
for the user, and then there's that bottom below the footer is for the search engine.
Okay.
So let's see if well, okay. So here's your header, right? So I don't know if you can see. Most people don't see this thing is here, but the top of that screen, it says fireplaces, gas grills, solar water heaters, gas fireplaces, wood fireplaces, electric fireplaces, grills, gas grills, charcoal grills, outdoor kitchens, and solar. Those are all the things that this store sells. right? That's the title. When you put a title, that's where it's showing up, is that top of the screen. Most people completely ignore that, but the search engine doesn't,
Gotcha.
right?
So it would be good,
So-
like if you put in your title, like barbershop chorus or something.
Well, Barbershop Chorus, Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right. You know, singing, men's singing group. You know, that
Dash,
stuff.
men's singing group.
Yeah.
Dash
Or,
choir.
or just singing group. You know, if it's a mixed, mixed chorus.
No, but I mean,
or-
that's, you can make it long. What does it
right.
matter?
Sure.
But okay, so that's the title on this page. How
So
does that
for instance,
relate-
for me, I wouldn't want to put like, in the title, I wouldn't want to put BCCG because like no one searches for that. I mean,
No,
it's
they have no
factually
idea what that
accurate,
is.
but it's useless, right?
Right. So here, so we have fireplaces, dash gas grills, dash, so, right? So
Yeah.
if you go, what's showing up? This was probably a search for gas fireplaces, right? So the gas and fireplaces and gas and fireplaces are bolded here. So that's how I can determine that first listing is for gas fireplaces,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
But that top line is exactly what is in my title.
Gotcha.
Right? So it not only informs the website or the search engine, it also is what Google is presenting to you as a user. So if your title says home, that's what's going to say there. That's what it's. So if somebody's searching through the search listing and they're not finding something that's compelling, they're going to scroll right past you, even if you are first.
Steve, just to be clear also, when you're talking about title here, you're talking about the meta OG
Meta tags,
title
yes.
tag, right? Not
Yes,
the
the title tag.
not the heading of your page.
Well, I mean, they all
That should
be
also
the
match.
same.
But when you say title, yeah, you mean the meta tag.
The meta tag title, right? Yep, that is exactly what I'm talking about. The other thing that's really important is if you look on the right hand side, right? Yeah, they showed up first, second, third, and fourth on the search. Yes, this is one that I did for gas fireplaces for the entire state of New Jersey, right? But they also took up a third of the page with what's on the right. Now that's Google Places. So you can basically go on for free and say to Google, hey, this is where we reside. Even if you're at a church that you're renting, you can still do that. And then Google will display in the search your Google Places stuff. So if you don't do that, if you don't have a free Google Places account, then they're not going to do that. Somebody else that does will take up that space.
Got it.
So this obviously is old, but it's a good example of what to do and what not to do. So Voices of Gotham's homepage description was Voices of Gotham Barbershop Chorus in New York City. We're an all-male a cappella chorus and a chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society comprised of former a cappella singers, professional actors and singers, and men who simply enjoy raising their voices in song, a bell for booking your next corporate event, wedding, or party, right? So that was what with the description. So we talked about title. Now we're talking about the description tag. So how did that translate to the search result, right? That's exactly what they displayed. So if you're not identifying your description tag, which so many people say, oh, this stuff doesn't matter anymore. Well, that's how they're building their search results, right? Voice of Gotham Barbershop Chorus in New York City. We're an all-male a cappella chorus, Barbershop Harmony Society. Yeah, they didn't use all of it, but they used all of it to search. So if somebody searched a cappella singers, you had a cappella in your description, you had a cappella in your title, you had a cappella on your webpage, they're going to display you for a cappella chorus. but this is what they're going to display to the user. Now, look below. Since I consistently, year after year, had tagged vocal majority, the word got back to them that I was doing this, and they fixed it. So they no longer do this, but this is what vocal majority was doing. Now, best chorus in the society, right? Or one of the best. Schedule dash vocal majority. Home dash vocal majority. That's how they were titling their pages. And they didn't give a description. So this is what Google said, okay, they didn't provide a description, so I'm going to do my best to figure out what description I should give. So you have member login, the VM store, home, performance, ticketed book. What does that say to somebody that doesn't know who vocal majority is? Doesn't say anything. It says they need to fix the website, which they have. So the meta tag keywords that you want to use. So we talked about title, we talked about description. Now we're talking keywords. So all of these need to align. Those are the three things that you really need to worry about. Again, the top things, the phrases to use. You don't need to reinvent the wheel for a barbershop chorus. It's barbershop chorus, a cappella chorus spelled multiple ways. Singing, barbershop singing in choir. So a cappella is spelled several different ways. Some of them, most of them wrong, but why not put that in there too? You know, you capture the misspellings. So these are the keywords from what at the time was the Voice of Gotham. New York chorus, New York a cappella chorus, New York choir, barbershop chorus, Voice of Gotham, NYC choir. So if you notice, we took those and did the modifier with NY, New York, and NYC. So all of those things get picked up. So if you're in Bryn Mawr, you know, you want to do, you know, both Bryn Mawr. What county are you in?
Chester.
In Chester County. So you want to have Bryn Mawr in there. You want to have Chester County, Pennsylvania in there, mixed in with those words.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on how other applications use search algorithms to ways to boost yourself up the rankings? I'll give you an example. We use Meetup. I don't know if anyone else on the call uses Meetup. We use it quite a lot to advertise our rehearsals. We actually get quite a few people coming in who found us on Meetup. It's actually a pretty good way of fishing. But I noticed, though, that we never appear consistently high up in their rankings, even when I do a very, very narrow search like Westchester chorus or Westchester, New York chorus. And often I get, choruses that are like in Virginia appear ahead of us in the search. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, do you have any thoughts or recommendations for other apps beyond straight internet searches?
Yeah, I mean, in Meetup, and I haven't used Meetup extensively, but that's a good outside link, right? So having Meetup is helping your website, right? Because there's a link from your Meetup to your website, right? So that's helping your website, but you're asking the other way, how do I get up higher in the search rankings for Meetup? I would imagine using a lot of the same tools. Right. So I don't know that they not necessarily have them as keywords there, but certainly in your
yeah, they do.
Your write-up, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I would use the same things.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But certainly in your write-up, I would use a lot of the similar type things that are using your keywords over and over and your location over and over.
Now, one thing I found does make a difference is if you have multiple members in our chorus RSVP and saying they're coming, and you sort of you get booted up the rankings because you're seen as being popular.
Right.
So they're gonna
right.
they're gonna make you more prominent because it's a popular place, right?
Right.
It's
So-
it's kind of a party that everyone wants to go
And
to.
also if you're bringing someone too.
Yeah, is that true also for just Google search is as well as the number of visits to your site? Is that going to affect your place in the rankings? Because while you've been talking, I just did a quick Google search on our chorus, and I just wrote Westchester chorus, right? And we're at number 10 in the rankings, behind the Westchester Children's Chorus, the Westchester Chorale, the Westchester Singers.
Right.
So what else can I do? And I take the optimization point. Are there any other things we can do?
The first thing I would do is make sure that your web page is applying these principles. Right. That's the first thing you can do. But then there's also off-page stuff that we're going to get to, whereas links coming back to your site, right? So other people. So what Google does is uses what's on your website, the ranking, the power of your website, and then the people that link to your website and the power of each of those people that are linking to your website and what they're saying about your website to make the decision, and also how many views you get, because they are tracking that now, but it's mostly the votes. So it's what you're saying about your site and how valuable they think your site is, and what other people are saying about your site and how valuable they are. So Meetup is a very valuable link to have, and because they have a high page rank, right? So that's a good link. That's a great link to have coming back to your website. Your local arts organization, or certainly a link from an EDU from a college, very valuable links to have, of people saying that you are a singing group, that you're a chorus, that you're that you're a cappella, any of those things. They don't have to say all of these things. They can just say any one of these things. And that's saying, okay, yeah, these guys are both valuable, right? That EDU, that college, is saying you're a really valuable link, and you're a credible link, and you're saying this about them.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's going to be a vote. That's going to be a vote forward to get up. And I think that Meetup is doing it, like you said, is that they're also using in their algorithm the votes, using people using their system, right? People that are part of your group. The bigger your group you are, the how often you're interacting with the group. Are people saying every week, yeah, I'm coming? That's right. Your search results too.
That's right. Some of this SEO stuff, we're definitely going to have our tech team look at it, but I think we're much more of an affiliation kind of chapter. So for us, it's people we're getting, or we want to come to sing with us, or friends of friends of friends, or more community based. And so we find, it's nice that if people want to search online for us, that's great, and we have a good web presence. But that's really not. I don't think that it's our web page that's responsible for.
Well, clearly,
a lot of people has shown up to our.
If you're showing up 10th on Westchester Chorus, it's definitely not your website.
For sure, right?
Right. So,
thanks.
but it could be. It could be. Certainly for Voices of Gotham, it is, right, Elizabeth?
I think that Voices of Gotham and Westchester, although we're only a few miles apart, have very, very different targets. Is my starting hypothesis.
I mean, there's no doubt, and I personally, Simon, would not put Westchester in the affiliate at all. On that continuum, I would actually put you guys closer to, not certainly pure achievement, but closer to achievement than most chapters.
Well, we're very explicitly not competing, or not very contest oriented, and we're much more community focused. So it's interesting that you say that. But yeah, anyway, I don't mean to derail the conversation.
Yeah, no,
This
but
is
I mean,
helpful.
but I mean, that's how my classes are different every time. That's what I like. I like this. But I mean, if you look at affiliate and you look at Rise or Discipline, which you guys have Rise or Discipline, right? You have that your singing quality is pretty good, right? It's not, you're not last in the district.
Maybe I don't see affiliate as being a pejorative term at all. I just think there's I think of us as being more community oriented.
Yeah,
rather than competition oriented.
I think a lot of chapters certainly have taken a look back at themselves and said, are we doing too much competition? I know the district doesn't want me saying that because we want people showing up to events, right? But I certainly know that Hunterdon has looked at that and said, our guys really enjoy performing and doing shows and doing gigs, and is competition taking up too much of our resources?
You can be extremely driven toward high quality without being a competition course.
Right. And I guess that's what I was trying to say.
I agree.
I think Westchester is, driven towards excellence, right? And still, you don't have to compete to do that. Your score in competition is not a score of your singing quality. I mean, I guess it is a score of your singing quality, but not necessarily the only way you judge your singing quality, in my opinion. So off-page SEO, so incoming links from other sites. So if the Barbershop Harmony Society is, or if you're getting a link from somebody else, so somebody else's site, what you might want them to be saying about you is Barbershop Harmony Chorus, a cappella singing, Bryn Mawr or Bucks
By the way,
County.
Bryn Mawr has nothing to do with where we are, where we used to be.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever.
Sure.
Bucks County or Chester County, wherever you are, but it's just, I'm just using that as an example, right? As I was talking about the page rank of the sites linked to you, believe it or not, directories, I mean, Yahoo, who uses Yahoo? Who uses these directories? I don't know anybody that uses a directory, but it's a good place to get a link, right? Some of these directories are like, who knows what it is, but you pay $30, and you get your site listed. Those types of links are good for, if you have no others, right? It's a good way to build links, even though from a usability point of view, they have no value, right? But from an SEO point of view, they do. So directories, well, Google Places we talked about, Yelp, even Foursquare, right? All of these places are good places for links or adding credibility back to your site. It doesn't think that, having a Yelp account is going to help my chorus, but it sort of does. So bottom of the page, this is what I was talking about. So everything above the footer was for the user. Everything below the footer is for the search engine. So we were talking about that they were links. Here we had the about. Now we're doing a text version, so something that the search engine can read. About us, quartets, book the chorus, contact us, join us. So those are links out to the site. We have Voices of Gotham, the premier area a cappella chorus, top New York choir. And then we have links that are not in our navigation. So Barbershop links live in the 7th, your members page, your home page. And here it's okay to call it a homepage, right? We could still have a link to that homepage, calling it a homepage, but not every place. So a page for singing Valentine's when we used to be singing Valentine's, a page that in the beginning we were talking of ourselves as an a cappella chorus, and I had a page just for barbershop chorus, right? So the whole website talked about ourselves as an a cappella chorus, but there was one page off the navigation that was on the site that was targeted towards finding somebody that was looking for a barbershop chorus in New York City. You know, and then I repeated that New York area barbershop chorus as the last thing on the page. And that ties everything back. I really should update my images. This is a 2013 image. That's getting old now. But it demonstrates the point. Right.
You know, if you don't mind, though, I'd like to start back in session, but I'd like to share my screen for a minute, if you wouldn't mind. Now, Steve, I don't know where you're going with some of your material here.
I don't know where I'm going either.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, we're figuring it out together. I wanted to get to, if I could, if you can see my screen, let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
All right. So I've actually recently been spending time here. Let me go to the Barbershop Harmony Society. On Barbershop Harmony Society. Now, I mean, they've got some branding that they've done and all that sort of thing. I'm going to go ahead and log into Document Center for a minute. Let's see if I remember my login here.
Oh, be careful. You may never get out once you get in there.
I was going to say, the last time I tried this, I guess I had to do a new password, and they never sent me my link for a password. So
all right,
I haven't been able to get in.
You know, you talk about searching, and we're talking about, crafting our pages so that, when people do searches that they're found on, on Google and things like that, which is good, which is fantastic. On the other side, and I'm going to cover this in my class later tonight as well. This is a member search up here. So if you want to search for anything in Doc Center, you don't use this search. You come down here and you use this search through all content. There's knowledge articles, right? What's that?
I said, huh.
Yeah, exactly. So you come down here, and if I search in marketing, if I just type that in and click search, there's a few things that come in here, right? But not a lot. And Steve, I don't know, this I think needs to be updated. You and Eric did a lot of stuff for Mid-Atlantic District, right? The toolbox, which is, if I go to Mad Home and you scroll down, you see it in here, right? And it's I don't know, 2015 or something like that. So still good stuff.
But it's supposed to be a living document, and the people that are in there are supposed to be updating it. But most of it's all the same stuff. It hasn't changed.
It's very static.
But I went here and I looked at, thinking, PR and communications support. I wanted to see what they have to say about anything related to. So there's a secretary page, and there's a bunch of resources there. It's a handbook. There's a treasurer one as well, and whatnot. But here's where I looked at this and I thought, well, this is pretty interesting. There's some interesting info about PR. I guess this is PR for society and all that. And then there was another thing that I saw here where I'm going to sort of backtrack.
Not to interrupt you, Rob, but that's that PR is a great place to get links.
Yeah.
Right. The newspaper, if you have an article written about your chorus or about your event, and the link is, coming back to your events page or whatever, that's helping your SEO.
There you go.
All those things are good.
I'm going to search for one other thing. So flyer, and this is where, like if you're, and this is, I don't know if you're going to cover this or not, but this flyer and brochure templates.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes for some chapters, right, coming up with great looking content, like let me just say about like Parkside, when I saw their collection of photos in black and white, their members like walking, going someplace, or, side of head kind of shots and things like that. Very striking, and very, very intentional marketing, right? That sort of thing. And I love it, right? But for me in Bucks County, chapter PA, like how do I come up with stuff like that? Where do I get ideas for that kind of thing, right? So that's why I mentioned here, there's flyers and brochures. They've got some things that you can use. You can steal these kinds of templates, they've made this available to you. And then this is where like Flickr, the BHS Flickr page, all of these photos that are stock photos are free to use. So you can find photos of conventions. You can find, galleries, I guess, of stuff, or favorites. Let's see, or albums. Any of these kinds of pictures you could use and say, look, we belong to a society that does, crazy stuff, like we dress in green. Look, we were doing this back in '78, or whatever you want to say. You can see a story, right? Or
Yeah,
there's also this
I mean, I think that's good for giving you ideas.
giving you ideas.
But,
That's the idea.
but I think that either in your chapter
Yep.
or certainly in our district, there's resources to
There are.
say, we can't build a website. We don't know how to do it. Help me build the website. Or we need to get good photography.
Mm-hmm.
Or we need to get some good graphic design. There's people out there in our district that are very willing to help other chapters
Right.
do all of this stuff, or at least teach them how to do it.
Sure.
I won't build somebody a website. I'll teach them how to build.
That's
elements
right.
of how to do it.
Teach them and to fish.
But right, exactly. I'd rather teach them how to fish than
But
fish.
the
for
other
them.
thing is there are resources out there where there's
Yeah.
free photos to use, or free content to use, or free ideas to use. And one of the other things I say, and I'm going to send it right back to you, Steve, here to go back in. But one of the things that I always say whenever we're together in any kind of scenario is steal from other local chapters. Look at the other local chapters. Like for me, that's Lansdale, for instance, and Philadelphia and Cherry Hill, and Abington, Levittown, and Flemington. The Harmonizers. Look at them and steal from them. Either learn what
Right.
not to do because you don't want to look that way, or wait, this was a neat idea. If we do this, maybe we can twist it. So
Yeah.
I think there can be a lot of value to that.
Yep.
The amount of resources out there is staggering.
It is. And then
And-
you have to try something. And I'll end it with this. I'll say with what I'm just saying right now, the comment is, what I've seen lately with marketing, since there's so many channels by which you can get a message to people.
Right.
TikTok, for instance, which we haven't talked about, but
Right.
you could TikTok something if you wanted to, right?
Right.
But so coming up with that, going back to Steve's first slide, the who you are, who you think you are, identifying that, and then sort of wrapping that message or branding that message, making sure that anything that you use,
Consistent.
graphic or TikTok or short YouTube video or whatever, kind of supports that message is very important. But don't just try one thing. You have to be changeable as well, and you have to change it up. So you have to try one thing for 6 weeks, maybe try something else for 6 weeks, maybe try something else.
Is anyone
The-
using TikTok?
The quantity is what matters.
Yes. There are chapters.
John? Oh, you are. Interesting. Is that cool? Is that just like a cool thing to do, or is it actually doing real stuff for your chapter?
John.
John has his hand up and he's on mute. There you go.
Well, yeah, there I am.
Yep.
So we've been having this unusual thing with COVID over the past couple of years, right? And so everyone is trying to adjust. I'm sure a lot of our participation is down, if not way down. So what have people found effective in addressing people's concerns and keeping people active and engaged, even if they've temporarily stepped away or stepped aside from participating? I'm just curious what folks' experiences have been.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing Zoom, and I am so Zoom reluctant to attending a chapter meeting on Zoom. I can't do it. I'm doing it now just to support our new chapter, so other people show up. But I generally would not be showing up to a Zoom rehearsal.
But in terms of what people's presentations on these various social media
On the social media
platforms
yeah.
are, yeah.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
there
I don't
any-
know. I wish Katie had jumped on here. Katie Mack, who's at Parkside's social media or VP of marketing. They or member, not Mark. I don't know whether she's doing marketing or membership, but they actually grew members during the, the, through the pandemic. I'm like, that's insane. You grew members during the pandemic. Like, how does that happen? But, you know, clearly they're doing something to attract people. You know, I wish she had hopped on here, or somebody from Parkside had hopped on. Anybody else have any input? I mean, we certainly, Rob, we did the Carpalooza, right? That was successful, where we had
Yeah.
people in cars,
That's right.
you know, all through the pandemic,
That's right.
through the worst of it. In
And-
cars, on, you know, hooked up to a soundboard, and Rob
Mhm.
did his magic, and you know, that was
Innovative. So demonstrating innovation. So, you know, a lot of folks, you know, I think, I don't know, I'm guessing, right, that, you know, some folks believe like barbershop is like dead. It's like, that's just a bunch of old guys, you know, but that's not true. Very innovative, you know, in trying to figure out how to continue the singing, which was, you know, I mean, we weren't the only ones, and we certainly weren't the first ones, but we were right there in the middle of making it happen for singers and fulfilling, you know, our singers' needs to sing and to satisfy audiences with our performances, right? So a lot went into that.
right.
And Hunterdon County
and
actually
truth-
grew, right? Didn't you grow a whole other chorus during COVID?
Yeah, we grew a whole other chorus during COVID. Yeah, the mixed chorus. But what's interesting, you know, for me as a singer, you know, anybody that knows me, and several people on this call know me, I would consider myself a chorus snob. You know, I want to sing with choruses at the highest level, and if we're not singing at the highest level, I have no interest, right? So during this, that Carpalooza pulled me back in to say, hey, you want to know what? Maybe you need to stop being a chorus snob and just enjoy singing, right? And so the guys are singing at a 70 level. It's okay.
So yeah, right.
I love the guys that I sing with. I don't care, you know. So
If your participation can attract quality members, that's something that appeals to me.
yeah,
Exactly. And so there's that, you know, organization demonstrating having fun, demonstrating
Right.
innovation, demonstrating,
Right.
you know,
and
demonstrating.
I'm
skill.
getting out and I'm having fun, and we're not singing at the highest level yet.
That's exactly right.
We will be, but not yet. Even if I have to start another chorus in our chori, we will be,
Cool.
which I may do. But I mean, the other interesting thing that's coming out of not just COVID, but out of Everybody in Harmony, right, is this concept of multi-chori in a chapter.
Is that a word?
That is my word.
It is now.
That is my word. I've coined lots of words, you know, in the past. So the people are using the word faxed. You know, when you faxed something as one word, yes, I coined that, because it used to be FAX apostrophe ED. Yeah. So yes, chori is now a word.
Okay, you heard it here, folks.
So you know, so we have multiple choruses within the chapter, and currently we have a men's, an all men's chorus, which was the original chapter, the Hunterdon Harmonizers. We have vocal synergy, which is a mixed chorus, and we have 30 members that we gained through the pandemic, and then pretty shortly we're starting a youth chorus, supposed to be starting the beginning of January. So I haven't heard anything about that, but I would imagine that youth chorus is starting.
The VHS system has now recognized these subspecies.
Right. So, and it sounds like Hell's Kitchen is doing something similar with an overarching organization, and then the multiple choruses within the organization. Elizabeth, you want to talk to that, or?
Sure, yeah. That's definitely still in progress, like how exactly it's going to play out. But we did want to be able to compete as Sirens of Gotham within BHS, and then also as a combined chorus within BHS. Like, to be honest, like I think this is similar for a lot of people. We had issues during COVID keeping up keeping up membership. And like for us, like most people don't have cars. We live in the middle of the city, and it was really hard to figure out how to like get together safely. So one
Amen.
way, yeah. So it was really helpful to just sort of consolidate resources. Like we've always wanted to do something, like we've always like singing together as Gotham, like as a combined chorus, but like strategically it became even more important recently because our numbers are down, our energy is down, and combining our leadership resources was really helpful for that. So
Right.
we are hoping to like compete as a combined chorus under BHS as well. So yeah, so like structurally what that looks like is not equating Voices of Gotham, the chorus, with the Hell's Kitchen chapter anymore. We now have like the Hell's Kitchen chapter with 3 actual ensembles under
Right.
that. That's, yeah, still trying to figure out like exactly how that's going to work long term, but that's the current
Yeah.
experiment.
So I mean, what Hunterdon is doing is breaking out up. So each of the groups has its own board, and then you have a board representative to the overarching board. But like membership and marketing are shared services. So each group doesn't have its own membership or their own marketing, but they have their own music team, right? They have their own board that's making decisions for that individual chorus. So the Hunterdon harmonizers aren't losing their autonomy, but they're gaining resources by having, membership and marketing and finance be shared services. Right. So you have a team of people from all of that are supporting the group as a whole.
I'll talk just for a moment, if you don't mind, about a small rural chorus. You probably have a music team that's as big as some of our ensembles. Our chapter right now, I think, has 17 total members. We also have a few hangers on who visit occasionally, have let their membership either expire or never joined. But even as small as we are, we're divided up into what we call the CAG, the Contemporary A Cappella Group,
Right.
which tries to sing at a very high level, but mixes the music very widely. We have the main chorus, which is pretty much old timers, but the young folks come in and sing with us for at least occasionally. We have a couple of very traditional quartets. They sing almost exclusively music that is out of copyright versus the contemporary group. And we have people that mix and match. You do what you need to do, and we're not growing like we'd like to, but we do have a few young people, and we're attracting a couple of really quality people into the system, and we're making inroads with some of the schools. Unfortunately, Mad had to cancel the East Coast Harmony Explosion.
Right.
And we had already started to advertise that to our local schools here, hoping to get them there. I'm afraid the harmonizers are also going to have to cancel their.
This Omicron's getting everybody.
Yep. But
that's
maybe
forgivable. Those cancellations are forgivable.
Yeah, but like somebody else was saying, it hurts the momentum. I think Elizabeth was saying, we were just starting to get excited and reopen and start singing in person, and from a marketing point of view, people were starting to plan, ready, set, sing, and this and that, and then that just boom, we're back to where we started. So it can be from a being a VP of marketing, that can be deflating.
Yeah. Steve, you mentioned
you make all these plans, you get started, you get revved up, and then boom, it's gone.
I see Al has his hand up.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just a quick question. As we're starting to branch out into other topics, Steve, are you going to speak to marketing yourself to potential customers so that that you can get, gigs and some sources of revenue?
Yeah, that's somewhere in my thing, but we can switch. We can switch to that now. So when you look at marketing, who are you marketing to, right? So you're currently marketing for members, but you're also marketing for gigs. You're marketing for grants, right? There's all sorts of different reasons you're marketing. So you need to look at all of those, right? So certainly a lot of people marketing for gigs, whether the chorus is doing them, they're pushing them out to quartets, is a big thing. It's certainly a big revenue source, or even marketing for your show, right? Is a whole different animal. So marketing for members is only one portion of that, of the job, but certainly, a lot of the same tools that we're talking about, we haven't really gotten to social yet, but all your social media things are where, certainly if you're marketing for gigs or for shows, your social media is really going to get you there. The one big thing that I have in a slide later that I don't know that we're going to get to, but for your shows is Facebook events, right? It's a great way to market your event and really bring out to the Facebook community the event. It's also a good way to get your, actually, let me go find that slide. Let me go share screen, because that is did I close out my?
I'm really curious about Facebook as a way of tool for marketing and how people use it. We use it a lot. We post a lot of content there. We share a lot of content. We're members of lots of community groups. We've used Facebook advertising, but I'm really curious if anyone else uses it and what they use it for and what successes or challenges that they've had.
We use it along with other things, but over at Bucks County, PA, and it's the kind of thing that you sort of have to continue to build your ground base and continue to grow out and grow out and grow out. I think what you need with Facebook is you need to continue to have the message, continue to post stuff that's interesting, and then you need to continue to ask for like people to extend out, like, tell two friends, tell two friends, tell two friends, things like that. We do have some second level and third level people that are not like direct members or direct family members of members or, whatever, but we do have, other people that are friends that are not in the barbershop world that are actually on our Facebook page. So you have to keep pressing that.
And what I was starting to say from events. So this is actually a flyer that I did for the Brothers when I was with Brothers, that I did for Brothers because I was so frustrated that we created a Facebook event and like 5 people in the chorus invited people to the event on Facebook. And the whole reason you want to do social, specifically Facebook, is that whole friends of friends, friends of friends of friends, right? That spreads the word widely. And so I literally created this page that says, here is this thing for this event. These are I circled, it's so easy. Press the invite button. Invite, there's an ad, invite friends. It's so easy to do this. And, like so many people weren't doing it. It was very frustrating. So after we did this, I think more of the older guys said, oh, maybe I can do this. It's not so hard. But certainly getting the word out for shows, or for even Singing Valentine's, you can create an event for Singing Valentine's the same way, right? So, and spread the word that way. But for grants, marketing for grants is really, doing shows that are local, right? So if you're trying to enhance your visibility, making sure that you're doing, the gazebo gig, that even if you're not making a lot of money, you're doing the local, the gig, doing that. Or, even some pro bono stuff in nursing homes and stuff like that. All of those things are positively looked upon by the grants. So, you might look at what you're doing, whether you're doing on page or off, what you can do to positively affect your grant, getting good pictures, getting good video to include in your grant application. All of those things are important. Is that addressing your question, Al? Did you have any other thing you wanted to ask about or there, or?
Well, I wonder if anybody has any thoughts or ideas on how to market yourself to some of these prospective customers that may not actually be looking for you. Some of these adult communities and whatnot that have preferred vendors that bring in 3 or 4 or 5 different entertainment type groups periodically, that would be willing to add you to their list, but they don't want to actually go out and start looking for you.
Yeah, so there are specific places, there's specific websites that you can add yourself as a vendor list. So if you were looking at getting wedding gigs, there's places like The Knot and other local things in each area where you can list yourself as a potential singing group that could come. One of the things that this is, I had a limited amount of time, and I don't know that we're getting through all my slides, so it's not my full deck of slides, but certainly if you're in an area where they have conventions, right? The Convention Bureau is a good place. Vocal Majority used to get $10,000 a gig to sing at a convention. The big convention comes to town. If you're in Philly, or we sang, my quartet sang at a convention in Philly. Those are good places, but what other places what other customers were you specifically talking about? And do they not have like specific websites to that those types of events, or?
I don't know. I'd like to know who the other customers are. We predominantly do and get paid for adult living communities, outdoor fairs, 4-H stuff, and things like that, and then the occasional private event, a birthday party, an anniversary, or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm looking to kind of broaden that scope a little bit.
Yeah, so the Gig Masters, and there was another one I can't remember off the top of my head.
Gig Salad.
Gig Salad, thank you. Gig Masters and Gig Salad, they're both paid. Although Gig Salad has a free, I think Gig Masters has a free, but my Quartet Twisted Mustache, we were on both of those, and we had gigs all the time. Right?
Yeah, Al, at the Courtsman in Westchester, we've used Gig Masters and Gig Salad. We're not using it right now because it's a pretty expensive fee. But around Singing Valentines, we often just get a free membership for a month and put something up there. And we got a ton of Singing Valentines a few years ago. We're going to do the same again this year because we're going to do in-person deliveries again, and we're going to do it outdoors, not indoors. So we should be okay. We also have a guy in our chapter whose job is basically to make sure we have relationships, like sounds like you do too, with all the major senior living centers in Westchester. And there's a whole bunch of them. The interesting thing is every one of these senior living centers, they all have something called a lifetime enhancement budget, right? So they actually have an expense item that they can spend real money on this stuff. So often what we do is, you know, we used to offer them performances for free because we kind of thought it was a nice thing to do for the community. But now we've realized, you know, this is a real profitable activity for us. And, you know, they actually get our premium pricing. We've also, you know, targeted malls and shopping centers and stuff like that.
Right.
I think that's a good way to have relationships. But with a lot of these institutional sales, it's really a question of having, I think, good personal relationships. It's kind of the feet on the street thing. You've got to be prepared to call up the person there and, you know, go around and see them and get a gig. But I think it's actually turned out to be a pretty good, you know, line of business for us.
You know, what have people's
go ahead.
I was just kind of, what have people's experiences been with things like special events, the 4th of July, Christmas tree lighting ceremonies, other kinds of stuff. Typically at times of year where a lot of our members are, you know, taking a holiday and not available. So it's sometimes difficult to get people to, you know, enough people to do those gigs.
This year for us, because we normally have a holiday show, obviously we couldn't do one. We decided to, we branded it as Westchester on Tour. So we called up 10 different towns around Westchester and basically got gigs, and we printed up a flyer that showed our tour schedule of all the tree lighting events that we were doing around Westchester. We did it all for free. I think we could have charged something, but because it was kind of the first time we did it, we probably built up a little bit of goodwill, and the guys really liked it. But that's one example of what we did.
Yeah. So I am going to address John's question in a way, but I think chapters, especially most chapters, underprice themselves. So as a quartet, and we were not particularly, you know, fabulous singers. We're not horrible singers, but we're not, you know, winning any gold medals. And we're singing polkas. So we're not singing anything crazy. And we would not walk out the door for less than $500. You know, to sing at that convention at Philly, I think we got $4,000. You know, so you don't have to be afraid to raise prices. I mean, I've heard choruses, they're sending a whole chorus out for $150. I'm like, that's nuts.
Think big.
You know, and John, about finding people to sing on those gigs, right? So Big Apple, well, they have since fallen apart, but they used to do a gig at the tree at South Street Seaport. And they were committed to this, you know, I don't know, 15 or 16 times singing at the tree at South Street Seaport. And there was a period where they had declining membership, less people willing to come and do these. And now they're committed financially to we're gonna get this people to the tree. You know, we're gonna fill that tree. So they started doing outreach to other, you know, people in the district. And a bunch of us, that's how I met a lot of my friends, and how most people in the district say, when did you stop singing with Big Apple? I never sang with Big Apple, but I sang on the tree every year for 10 years. You know, so everybody's like, you know, when did you stop singing with Big Apple? I never sang with Big Apple. You know, but you know, so they always saw me at the tree and thought I did. But you know, barbershoppers are willing to come and do those things. You know, there's also, you know, if you're doing a ready, set, sing, a lot of times people will do ready, set, sing in the winter, and do the graduation is you sing with us on, you know, the tree lighting events. Right? That's a good way to make sure you get people to do that, is you do a ready, set, sing and make the graduation the event.
Right.
You know, so that's, I think does that answer these questions? Where were we? So on social media, obviously, you know, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, your groups and fan pages, posting regularly. So I can't stress posting regularly enough. and having your members interact with your posts. It's not hard to do. You know, if you have 20 guys in your chorus and you're getting 3 likes to your page, there's something wrong. You should at least be getting, when you post something, you should at least be getting comments and likes by every member of your chorus. Have members comment and post and tag the chorus. You know, I'm a sales guy. That's what I do for a living. Okay. But I hate asking friends. I would never, ever, ever ask one of my friends to join my chorus in person. I just won't do that. I don't know why, but that's not me. You know, I'm not doing that. But so using social media, every one of my friends and my friends' friends and my friends' friends' friends knew that I sang, or know that I sang, because Tuesday I would, you know, I have banned myself from Facebook, but when I was on Facebook, Tuesday I would go on and say, I can't wait to be singing in my chorus tonight. And then Wednesday I would say, oh my God, what a great rehearsal we had last night. You know, or something like that. So everybody, I didn't have to go in person and say to any of my friends, hey, you know, I sing. They know I sing. You know, so for the people who don't want to do that, or say that everybody that I've talked to, I've asked everybody that I know to be a member, right? I mean, how many times have you heard that from a membership point of view? Oh, we need more members. Well, I've asked everybody I know. Now, interestingly, I will ask strangers to join the chorus. If I see somebody singing in a mall, in the supermarket, I'll ask them, where, you know, do you sing anywhere? I've done that, but if I know somebody, I won't ask them. So strangers, I'll do it too, but not friends. So you will, the viral nature of Facebook. So we talked a couple of times about friends of friends, friends of friends of friends, friends of friends of friends, right? Of the way Facebook works. So when we were doing the 75th anniversary, I don't know if you guys remember this, the 75th anniversary show. So a benefactor came to Voice to Gotham and said, we will pay for, we're going to fly in, you know, international quartet winners, and we want you to put on a show that's streamed for free for the 75th anniversary of the Barbershop Harmony Society, right? So the Barbershop Harmony Society put some juice behind promoting this, but it was essentially promoted on Facebook, right? Whether it was the BHS doing it or other choruses posting, just the viral nature of that. And you know, we've shrunk as a society, but at the time, I think we had, I don't know, 35,000 members or something like that. And we had over 1 million views. We had over 1 million simultaneous viewers of that show. Think about that.
Right up there with the Super Bowl.
But, and this was just promoted. We didn't buy ads anywhere. We didn't do anything. We just promoted it on Facebook. You know, so the very viral. I mean, don't discount the viral nature of Facebook to get the word out.
And isn't that kind of exactly the point? It's kind of like with Meetup as well. If if 2 people are going to a thing, yeah, that's no big whoop, But if 30 people are going and bringing
Right.
friends, oh well,
Yeah.
hey, maybe I need to be in that crowd. I
What
don't
am I
know. Let
missing?
me see.
Right.
Right. So same
You're
thing
missing out. Right.
with your Facebook. If it's always changing, you always got fun things going. You get maybe little comic graphics, or maybe pictures of people having fun singing, or a post about something that's coming up, a show that's coming up or something, or whatever. Whatever you got. Like we're doing singing Valentine's like everyone else is too, and we're going to record them, like I was showing earlier tonight,
Right.
and we're going to advertise those, make them available, and things like that. So, I mean, the more you do, the more you continue doing. That's
Right.
where you're talking about the viral. The more it goes viral, or the more that it kind of
And-
expands out.
And you don't need to be the best chorus in the world. You don't
Mm.
need to be Parkside
Right.
to have your video go viral.
Right.
There was a video of these guys from, I think, Australia or something like that,
Mhm.
that was singing on an airplane,
Uh-huh.
to the people that these guys, if they were in a quartet on stage, they probably were singing in the 40s.
Oh, really?
I mean, they weren't great singers by any stretch of the imagination, and even if they were great singers, they weren't singing well in this video. And people loved it. People loved it. That video was shared so many times. It was ridiculous. I mean, that thing, I think, got over 1 million views.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be the best singer in the world to the other thing. The other thing that I wanted to go back to about my quartet. So it ties back into being on brand, right? So everything needs to be on brand, I think. And when we started as a quartet, we because of the nature of it, because our quartet is not only 8 people, or not only 4 people. We put 4 people out to the public at a time, but we had 20 people in this quartet that we could interchange in for gigs. And, at one point we had 8 gigs. We had 8 quartets going out on gigs at once, to malls, by the way. Those were all in malls for Christmas. So to have a common repertoire that everybody could feel comfortable with, we only sang polkas, right? We sang polkas at a decent level as a group. Some groups better than the other, but we sang polkas, right? But when we started, we said to people, oh, you get to choose what outfit you want them to show up in. Do you want them to show up in black suits with black ties? Do you want them to show up, with, in a tuxedo? Do you want them to show up in, red striped vest and a boater hat? Everybody chose the red striped vest and the boater hat. So then we stopped asking. That's just who we were like, yeah, well, that's what everybody's saying they want. And everybody runs from that. But that is our brand, right? When we walk down the street in that outfit, some people say, hey, that's a barbershop quartet.
Immediately recognizable.
Immediately recognizable. So there are so many things that we as barbershoppers run from and say, that's too old school. We can't be that. But you want to know what? Maybe it's Jimmy Fallon that breathed new life into that. I don't know, but certainly
That's funny.
Certainly, we were getting gigs because we were living the brand.
Yeah, you're talking about mustache, right?
Twisted mustache.
Twisted mustache, right? Yeah, I've seen. You know what? I've seen some of those pictures across Facebook because we're friends on Facebook
Right.
and whatnot. And I've seen that kind of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's fun. That's good. That's it. There you go. I don't mind that brand. I have, vests. We bought those for, Cross Keys Connection, my quartet. But, you're right. There is a reticence to embrace that. I don't know why that is, but
Yeah.
I wish we would do more of that kind of thing. you know, you walking around. So walking around, sometimes we'll do like a carnival in the summertime. There was a carnival we were typically at, you know, it's like, I always felt like, yeah, that's what you want, man. You want to do that because what you'd like to do is you'd like to sort of be strolling around and sort of stop and sing for people and all that. And then, you know, as you're strolling down, then you'd like to hop up on stage and then, you know, sing a couple, you know, it's like, oh, there's those guys, you know, it's absolutely like the school board in, you know, Music Man, right? So that's what you want, I think.
That's what you want.
People are like,
I don't know if Al's
yes.
still on. I don't know if Al's still on, but I mean that's certainly, you know, the carnivals, all those places, but you need to put your name out, right? You need to tell people that you can do these things. And then the more they see you at doing those things, the more of those things you'll get. Right? How are we doing on time? I think we're past where it's supposed to be. You guys want to hang out?
It's 5:30. It's you're good up to 5:30 or so.
Okay.
You know, so you got 20 more minutes to
fill. So I mean, you saw what Voices of Gotham back then, the website was. This is that Facebook. So it's very consistent, right? All consistent stuff, consistent imagery. And the same thing with Twitter. All consistent. And LinkedIn. Most people don't think about LinkedIn as a place to market your chorus. But LinkedIn has a couple of advantages. I definitely know quartets that have gotten gigs from LinkedIn, right? But also from the other direction. So certainly the younger members, by being on the board or being active in leadership,
there you go,
in your chapter and posting that on LinkedIn helps them advance in their careers.
You know, you bring up an interesting point too. I hadn't thought about LinkedIn until I saw it in your presentation here. And, you know, it's literally just, usually for most people like me, it's a completely different set of people that you can reach. So you just multiplied your reach.
Right. You know, and you know, what Al was talking about fishing, you want to know what, if you're looking for gigs, corporate gigs and stuff like that, LinkedIn is the place you're finding those, right? If you don't want to do Gig Salad or Gig Master, right? LinkedIn is certainly the place that you're getting in. And most people don't, they think it'll be, oh, that's my work stuff. But you want to know what? It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be just your work stuff.
Yeah, Steve, so you're saying if you have a LinkedIn thing, add this to your profile or?
Well, I mean, if you look at mine back here, okay, I'm a partner in HCMB Holdings, right? We're search engine marketing and monetization, magazine publishing. But I also was the assistant DVP of marketing for the Mid-Atlantic District, right? You know, board member at the Hearth Products Association. So there's some professional, you know, this is one of the companies, the HCMB is one of the companies I own. The Mid-Atlantic District in here. Now, if you look on mine now, it's more robust, right? Had all the stuff that I've done for the district is all on there. All the stuff that I've done for each of my chapters. So Voices of Gotham is on there. All of my chapter stuff, all of my leadership stuff is on there. Festival of Harmony, all that stuff is on my LinkedIn. And you want to know what, it adds credibility to you as a professional too, that you're serving on boards, that you know what I'm saying, that you're involved in nonprofits. Your company, like, I don't need to do it, I own the company, but you know, if you're working in a company, it's good. That's good for your professional career to show that stuff. So Foursquare is sort of old, but it's the same thing. Like you were talking about Meetup is check-ins. You know, people check in, people are seeing that. You know, I don't know how up to date these numbers are, but the BHS channel, you know, had 16,000 subscribers, right? when I did this. I probably should have updated this, but old school's thing had over 1 million views, 1.1 million views. The Ambassador's 76 trombones, 2.5 million views. Right? There's some multi-tracker guys that have for each video over 1 million views. That's a lot more people than our barbershoppers that are in the Barbershop Harmony Society, that sing in choruses, getting a lot more, like I said, crazy awareness. You know, Kickstarter, Indigo, and GoFundMe are interesting places too. You know, one of the things that we didn't talk about is, you know, marketing for funding.
I'm happy to hear you talk more about that. Yeah.
You know, they're they did it as a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but certainly just having on your website a page that says donate to the chorus, you know, or with funding categories with a PayPal button, right? Is you know, or even the district, right, Dave? I mean, all we needed to do was add a donate button to the district website, and all of a sudden we're getting money.
Right.
Right? I mean, how much do you know off the top of your head how much money we got, how much in donations we got since we did that donate button a year ago? Couple of grand, I think.
Yeah,
right?
somewhere in there.
You know,
There were some hoops to jump through to set it up, but they're trivial in the long term.
right. And for the district, the hoops were bigger because of where we were registered and all that, and because we're multi-district, we have multi-state. But I think it's easier, you know, certainly if you are already registered as a nonprofit in your, you know, in your state, you can just add a PayPal button, easy. You know, or a donate button. So, you know, and have different categories, you know, have a $25 category, a $50 category, a $200 category, a $500 category, a $2,000, a $5,000, a $10,000. It costs you nothing to do that, right? So different ways to do that, to raise money.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my pet peeves. So think about your chapter. Let's go back to where we started an hour and a half ago and say, how hard is it for somebody to walk in, to open the door and walk into your chapter? Right? Al's not on, but Mars Music Men.
Yeah, I'm still on. Steve.
Oh, you're still there?
Yeah.
So
Still watching football, but still on.
still watching football. Okay. but to visit the Mars Music Men, you need to drive to the back of the church. You need to pick one of 4 doors to go into, and happen to pick the one that's going up the stairs, up a flight of stairs. That's probably, without direction, probably the least likely that you would pick if you didn't see other people going in there, right? So
Couldn't you put some signs on the doors?
you would think, but nobody does. I've visited many chapters and nobody's doing any of this stuff, no matter how many years I scream about it. Or put a banner outside that says barbershop singing tonight, you know, that goes up the night that you rehearse. That you can drive right past the church. And I don't mean to pick on Morris County. It's just, I know it so well because I sang there for years, right? But it doesn't matter what chapter you pick, we're all hidden. We're hiding from people. We're making it hard for them to find us, right? You know, Voices of Gotham, you have to make sure you get the right door. They finally did put up a sign that says a little thing in the window, in the right door, but there's 4 doors that you could pick, right? So there's nothing outside directing people to that right door. It's all of us. It's not that one of us is doing this wrong. All of us are doing this wrong. I haven't found one chapter that I visited over the 15 years of being a barbershopper that is making it easy to find themselves. Nobody. I mean, anybody on here? Is it easy to find how to get into your place?
No, we
Somebody-
we turn off the
If a new
light.
guy is coming,
I guess we're well hidden.
We do have a banner that's a tall, standing, is about a 6-foot banner that rolls, that collapses down, that you
Yeah.
sort of pull up, and we put that by the chorus room door. We're in a school usually.
right?
So, but it's hard for us to put something outside because it needs to be fairly sturdy to, blow in the wind and all that sort of thing. And, to tape it to the doors, I guess we could do that. But you really, when you're coming on to like a church property or a school property, you really need something out by the road that's a nice, substantial sign.
You can have, banners are so cheap.
Yeah,
I mean,
you need
for
a sandwich
$40
board to put it on, though.
You can have a big banner, a 6-foot banner made for $40.
No, I get that, but you need to put it on something substantial like a sandwich board.
Yeah, posts, right?
Or a
Something.
van.
The thing that's hard
Right.
about that is that you got to have someone in the chapter who's dedicated to like have those in his garage, bring them with him, stick them there as he's driving on, so that they're there, that sort of thing.
Or that lives close.
Or that
And
lives
puts,
close.
puts it up early on Tuesday. You rehearse on Tuesday nights. Puts it up before rush hour traffic on Tuesday.
Right. So that's just a coordinating,
In the morning.
how
Right.
important you think it is in order to be known, right?
Well, to me, forget the guy that it's already dedicated, right? How many people, I think Morris County did this once, that they said, okay, we're going to do a marketing thing just in a 5-mile radius of where we sing.
Yeah.
And nobody knew they were there,
Yeah. Best kept secret. Yep.
So my example is I sang in high school. I was hooked on barbershop in high school. Okay. And I went to high school in Milburn Township. I lived in Short Hills, 5 minutes from the Livingston chapter rehearsal.
Right.
They were international champions.
I know, right?
And I didn't know there was a society to join.
Never even heard of it, right?
Never even heard of them. And I was singing barbershop.
Yeah.
I was singing barbershop.
Yeah.
In chorus in high school, in junior high.
Yeah.
And never knew they existed. I'd have another 25 years on my membership card. Because I was hooked back then.
Right.
But we're the invisible society.
In terms of other outreach, I don't know, this is probably true in New York, maybe Philadelphia. So there were a lot of colleges. There are a lot of colleges with a cappella groups. Those folks graduate, men and women, and then some of them hang around town and they're maybe looking for whatever is next. Is there any direct outreach, or is it mostly word of mouth to try to reach some of those potential members?
I know at Voices of Gotham, we were doing direct outreach to those groups, but from a membership point of view, everybody struggles with membership. It doesn't matter who you are. Parkside struggles with the membership. Voices of Gotham struggles with membership. Local Majority struggles with membership. The membership issues are different, right?
Mhm.
Right. So our typical chapter, when we have guys that are aging out, they're dying, they can't drive anymore, right? That's a typical chapter problem, right? Whereas Voices of Gotham is it's a leaky bucket, because people it's transit. The town that they live in is transitory. So people are getting jobs, they're moving away, they're getting married, they're moving away, they're having kids, they're stop coming. You know what I'm saying? You have to fill the bucket faster because it's leakier.
Yeah.
at some of those, the in city. So, Rittenhouse being in Philly, you may have some of that.
Oh, no,
Where you're getting the
definitely have
college
that.
kids and they're coming, they stay for 2 or 3 years and then they get a job and they leave.
Yeah.
So websites made easy. So we talked a lot about stuff we can do on our websites, and I thought there was some questions about this earlier. But Groupionizer, Connected Squarespace, there's a couple of them. They're all sort of similar. It's just these templates are designed for barbershop chapters and make what we do easy, both in the front end for a front end website and the back end for managing all sorts of things, whether you're managing attendance or you're managing music or any of those things. It makes it easy. Anybody want to talk about what they're using, whether they're using Groupionizer or something else?
Yeah, we're on Groupionizer, and we have an okay web page, but we're actually thinking about wanting to rebrand it. Let me just show it for a minute here. I'll show screen one. Bucks County. Let's see. Do I happen to have it open? I probably don't. No, that's okay. So watch this. This is cool. So Bucks County Barbershop. If I were typing on the right keyboard, that
I was going to say nothing's typing there, Rob.
The perils of having multiple keyboards.
Well, you should have done Bucks County Chorus. Let's see what happens if you do Bucks County Chorus.
All right. Yeah, there you go. So we're down the page quite a bit. Bucks County Singer shows up. We're down here. We're below the fold. All right. Well, anyway, so here's our page. Now, honestly, I don't like this theme, and that's what we want to change is this theme.
Yeah.
But we've got some pretty good stuff going on here. Some pictures of us having fun. Here's our advertisement singing Valentine's, and this is Groupionizer. I haven't actually found a lot of great templates of theirs that I like, although I think we can go get really any template that we seem to like. Here's our, by the way, here's our About Us.
Yep.
And then down here at the bottom we have, and I was looking at this when you were talking about it, Steve. I was like, we could do this better. That we have that copyright banner. That's our banner we could fix.
And what did I say about the last thing on the page?
Yeah, I see.
Groupionizer stole that for themselves.
Yeah, I see that. Do you think I can get rid of that? Think I can reverse these?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to see. And then we have, just a collection of things. There's Join Us, Come Sing With Us. It's an old picture. Hire us, let us sing for you. Contact, typical contact. And then here's About Us. We have like directors and quartets. We have a quartet, our chapter quartets page. And then like when you look at that, like here's my quartet.
Yep.
Typical stuff. There's nothing magic about this. You don't really need a lot. We could do this actually. We were also thinking. So we use Groupionizer. We're about 35, 36, 37 members. We want to grow to 50 soon, but we could do this web page in GoDaddy real easy. Right? Yeah. This is just a WordPress. Really, is all you need. Matter of fact, I've done just that like a couple of years ago. It's like, we don't need this. We use Groupionizer to manage the chorus, but we were actually, probably don't actually need it for that too. But it's okay. I mean, so.
Right. The Groupionizer specifically, their whatchamacallits have gotten better.
Yeah, their themes.
The themes have gotten better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Am I sharing the screen? Let's share the screen.
Yeah, go ahead and share it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of other courses. I think I would be surprised if Parkside wasn't using Groupionizer.
So I mean, this one from Brothers was Groupionizer.
Yeah.
And that's a nice theme. That's using that full page.
Sure.
Hero.
It's full page,
really
nice and clean. Sure.
And I think that's also a scrolling think that's a scrolling hero. So it goes through multiple
Sure.
pictures. Right.
Sure.
So that's a nice theme.
Yeah. Can you pull up Parkside now?
Yeah, I certainly can.
Just not that they're and then what I'd like to do, because I do this often, and I recommend this too, that you go and look at other chapters websites. Look at Alexandria Harmonizers, look at Ambassadors of Harmony, look at Westchester Sound. Go look at these different ones, and also look at things that are like let's see, the Liberty Bells is Ann Bureau is director of. It's Harmony Inc. site. Go look at Jersey Sound Chorus, for instance. And you see good things, that you can maybe steal as ideas, right?
They're using Choir Genius.
Yeah,
apparently.
that's it. That's Groupanizer is Choir Genius.
Okay.
Same thing.
So,
That actually is a rebranding, because actually Groupanizer was what is Groupanizer? That's weird, right? But Choir Genius, there are other organizations, like school-based singing organizations that use it. Yeah, there you go.
And I think this website is significantly less compelling than their old website. To me,
Yeah.
all the featured events, in my opinion, the recent news, it's just superfluous.
Right.
I'd put that farther back on your website and make these pictures higher quality.
Right.
They used to have very high quality pictures.
Agreed.
And make these full screen.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I don't know what they were using before.
Now show
but
Hunter.
I think
show Hunterton.
1 second. Let me look. So
Okay. Oh, right.
all the way down here.
Wow. Now, Hunterdon and Somerset Hills use a different page to
100 in
manage.
New Jersey Chorus.
Yeah,
Harmonizers came up first,
there you go.
and they have Google Places.
That's great. We got to do that.
And then their Facebook comes up third.
Okay.
An article about them comes up fourth and fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, they're dominating.
And then look, Hunter Harmonizers down there is their expansion.
First, third, fifth, and sixth.
Yeah, right down there on the bottom there too. They
Right.
grow. They're growing, expanding.
And they have the places page,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
100 in musical arts having it.
Right.
Right. So I think that's a, and I had nothing to do with this other than them taking my class in the past. But
Right.
so they're, again, very, I think, very cluttered.
Right.
And that show already happened,
Yep.
right?
But it's
So-
still available to watch though, which is I think what they're advertising.
Yeah.
That's a link so you could go see that performance, which I recorded, by the way.
But very, very cluttered. Way too much stuff on this homepage. There's
And
not.
what are they using? What's down at the bottom? What's their
They're
battle? Because this is not Groupanizer. This is something else.
No. Well, let me go in. Let me log in as a member.
Okay. Right, because you can. We're coming up on time. We're a little bit over time.
Can we see what this
Down at the
is?
bottom,
This is
Harmony site.
Harmony site.
There you go.
Harmony site. But I mean, it does a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Has the song library, has the,
Sure.
your rehearsal, whether you're stating your availability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of these are all coming up. Upcoming events.
Mm-hmm. So anyway.
But I mean, it's the other class that I created though is sort of this. It's more of a membership class, but websites are membership under glass. right?
Mhm,
So where we
mhm.
go through and say, how did you become, you're a new member. Let's take you through your process. You started a search. And I think for for on websites, that's a good tool, a good thing to do as a VP of membership or a VP of marketing, is say, okay, if I'm interested in my chorus, if I'm interested in joining a chorus, and I started on Google, what would I get? Right? Where would I go? So it's interesting when you have a relatively new person in the class, the relatively new barbershopper, right? Which I think Nancy said she was, right? The relatively new. Yeah.
Relatively new BHS member. I'm a 27-year barber shopper.
Okay, so you're a barbershopper a long time. And
Yes.
so this we happen to have in the class somebody that was a 5-year-old barbershopper. I think Al's much more than that, right?
Not much, 2015.
Right. So, but you came from a Ready Set Sing,
I
right?
came through a Ready Set Sing.
Ready
Yes.
Set Sing. But like if this person came through Google, right? Found her course in Baltimore through Google, and we basically recreated her path and said, okay, these are the things. Did you click on that link? No, because there was no description. Okay, did you click on that? Yeah, I clicked on that link and then I went to the website, but it was too confusing. Right, so there's a lot to be learned by putting yourself in the shoe of a new member and going through Google and saying, okay, if I'm a new member that knows nothing about this, what would I put in? What would I find? What other sites am I competing against? What other singing organizations am I competing against? That's what you need to be, right? Your site needs to be nicer, more cohesive, more on message than them, not than Parkside or than Vocal Majority. Needs to be better than who you're competing against in your local community, who somebody's going to look at the website of before yours or after yours. Right?
Yes.
Agreed.
Steve and others, I need to jump off, and I just want to thank everyone, and Steve, you especially.
Yeah, certainly.
Much appreciated.
Cool. Thank you. Do we have much more stuff? I don't know. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we have here. So the Ready Set Sing, right? Clearly is a marketing success. I think we're running through the end of the slides. But if you're not doing a Ready Set Sing, you should be.
Okay. Right.
There's free Ready Set Sing templates that Christian Hunter has created that basically has you just drop your location in and your 800 number. There's they also, in addition to doing the Ready Set Sing banners and yard signs and all of that, I think there's also people doing the certainly Morris County got great PR a number of times from on the Ready Set Sing. What a great picture of Nate, right? But you were talking about having, we were talking earlier about having good pictures as part of, I don't know if you want to talk to this, Al, but didn't they send a photographer in from the paper?
Yeah, we were fortunate to get some local coverage. And that's actually how I came through. I wasn't looking for singing. I wasn't looking for anything that had anything to do with singing. I happened to be volunteering with a special needs group, and I'd taken them to the library to work on their library skills. And I pulled out the local paper, and there was an article. And so I took a photo of it for myself.
Yeah, maybe this article.
It might, yeah, well, maybe so.
Yeah.
But also to your point, I assistate at Harmony College with the Ready, Set, Sing. And so we have that recorded, which it's basically 2 recordings. They're a tad dated, but they're still effective if anybody wants them. One is on the steps that Nate uses to actually teach the Ready, Set, Sing. And the other recording is on how we go about, we put together a recording on how to go about marketing Ready, Set, Sing at $0 or very, very low cost.
Right. And in addition, we haven't pulled the trigger on it, but at the district level, we are talking about doing a whole marketing Ready, Set, Sing period as Ready, Set, Sing, not necessarily a chapter, and then find the chapter that you're interested in. You know, find an event locally, right? Which is finding a chapter's Ready, Set, Sing. So we're talking about, you know, Nate and Brian and I have been talking about doing that. So we haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, but that's something, definitely something in the hopper. So, you know, when Morris County did it, you know, their first session, they had 7 guests and 3 chose to join the chapter. Second time they did it, 17 were guests, 6 chose to join the chapter. Third time they did it, 6 guests and none joined the chapter, and they still weren't saying, oh, well, you know what, there was a failure, right? That happens, right? That none joined the chapter. So the bottom line is that before Ready, Set, Sing, Morris County was at 20 guys. And now
originally they were at 9.
Or at 9.
They were
right.
at 19 when I came in. I believe I'm that 6 guests for.
Yeah, 4 chose the chapter.
But one of the 4 only stayed for 1 or 2 weeks.
And you guys, their problem with Ready, Set, Sing now is they have to be careful how often they run it, because they're out of riser space in their location. If they get more members, they're going to have to move. Think about that. How many chapters would love to have that problem? We can't
Sounds like
add
a
more
great
members
problem.
because we'd have to move.
Right. Right on.
Right. That was before COVID, but think about that. You know, how before COVID, how many guys were on the risers?
In the high 40s.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I mean, we had
I
50
thought it was more
something.
than
We had
that,
50
but-
something on the roster, but you always have guys that are,
Yeah.
you know, not active. But
Right. I thought it was more than that, but I mean, if you know, you can't put more risers up. You know, there's not space to put more risers up. So I think if you're not doing Ready, Set, Sing, you definitely need to look into it. I think that is the end of my slides. Anything you guys want to talk about in particular and that we haven't covered?
And you were afraid you were covering the material too quickly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I have a couple of more slides on my 8-hour class, but I can stretch that to 8 hours if people were talking, you know. Although you guys finally did warm up and and start talking. But any of you guys, well, I guess nobody on this call now has taken this class with me before, which is cool, other than Al. Anybody have anything else you want to talk about, or? No.
Steve, I'll just
Marketing
say,
was never my field, but I learned a heck of a lot of very interesting stuff today. Thank you.
Cool.
I'll just say I was absolutely fascinated with some of the stuff you're talking about in search engine and title and description and terms to put and things like that. So absolutely fascinating, I thought.
Cool.
I
Well, I'm glad you
learned a
enjoyed it.
tremendous amount, Steve. Thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, stuff.
There you go.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. So if nobody has anything else, good seeing you all, and hope you enjoy your next class.
Thank you so
For
much,
those
Steve.
that are moving on to treasurer or whatever you're doing.
Secretary is next.
Secretary is next
Yeah.
at 7. Yeah, go grab some dinner.
And we'll
Steve,
see you
thank
in
you
2
so
weeks.
much. Thank you so much for doing
Yeah.
this for us
No,
today.
certainly.
I really appreciate it.
Certainly.
Remember to come back in 2 weeks.
Your card is in the mail.
Yes, yes, yes. I am coming back in 2 weeks to do the group session as well.
Combined session. Yeah.
The combined session. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Well, it was one of those things, but look at me now, I'm in love somehow. I wanna see my baby now, just look at me now.